than I thought.
Get the fuck off me, man.
All this time you thinking I'm not ready for the fucking throne? But you weren't ready for me.
You want me to take Poppy's place? Does Cane know that?
Let's just keep it between us for now.
All right, y'all. Y'all looking at the title. Y'all looking at the thumbnail. Yes, get on in here. Now, before I even get started on today's video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, get on in here. Now, for a Dru versus Cane, I feel like that might be later than sooner. Because when you look at it back in like season 1 and season 2, where Lorenzo always chose Dru because he see Dru as like the smarter kid.
Yeah. If I would have taken the shot on Kino, but I can't risk anyone naming you.
The smarter son. While you look at Cane and he's more destructive and brute force. But when you look at it back in season 2, he was under the tutelage of Mecca, and Mecca was like teaching him for like a little bit. And he was the only one to have figured out that Lorenzo was the one to have killed Zeke. So you would think that since Dru is supposed to be like the chosen child to lead the family, you would think that he would have been the one to have figured it out. Like, wait a minute, you know, about the whole Zeke's belongings and that, like Lorenzo found Guapo's, got in a little guap. He basically got like one of the guaps and said that, hey, he was the one to have killed Zeke. But when the guap member, he was just like, well, no, I was, what was it? I think in Puerto Rico or Dominican. Yeah, I think he was in Puerto Rico or somewhere. And that's when, you know, Monet kills him. But you would think that Dru would have been the one to have figured it out. But the thing is, Dru was so obsessed and fixated with Everett. Like, he wasn't even looking into those directions, and Cane was. That's why it kind of like makes the dynamic very interesting. When you look at it like this, it's more like Cane is trying to like take the throne by force, while Dru was basically given the throne. But I'm thinking about like maybe in season 4, maybe in season 5, like it might turn out like really bloody. I would believe, like, if Cane doesn't go to jail in this season, which I highly doubt that he will, if he doesn't go to jail in this season or get into some sort of like trouble with the law or get caught up or any sort of thing, right, then I think maybe in the next season we probably could see maybe like a Dru versus Cane, because it's been teased like heavily since like season 1 and 2 that is a possibility that they can happen. Because when you look at the Tejada family right now, son, is broken. It's completely broken beyond repair, because Lorenzo's dead. Monet got Lorenzo killed. Monet potentially might go to jail this season, and only people that's going to be left is going to be like what, Dru, Cane, and Diana. That's it. So who are you going to have to like really lead the family, and who's going to like put people in check and put them in a way where it's like, okay, you're going to lead. So and you know Cane is he's not going to like listen to Dru. He's definitely not going to listen to Dru. He's going to like, no, I'm in charge, because he figures I'm going to take the throne by force, while Dru is like, no, I'm going to be in charge because Lorenzo always wanted me to be the one in charge. But I think that what could happen, they could go their separate ways before like any sort of bloodshed can actually happen. That's what I think. Even though, despite Diana probably want to try to keep everybody together because, you know, they family and all, but that's the thing. You can't have two alphas. You can't have two people who wants to lead, but one or the other will not submit to the other. And you got to keep in mind of this too. Who's actually a better fighter between Dru or Cane? I'm kind of leaning on Cane to being like somewhat of a better fighter than Dru. But the thing is, with Dru, you can never count him out. You can never underestimate Dru, because Dru, he kind of has it. Like, you can't underestimate him. But we all look at Cane as the favorite, because look at this season. So far, Kane's been doing an excellent job. He kind of bitched Tariq.
So what? You gonna come at me next? Please try, because that'll make my motherfucking day.
Okay, nobody's worried about you, right?
Right? When they was talking in the last episode, where he was just like, oh, like, you know, you talking crazy to me. Like, I wish you would, you know? And Tariq was just like, man, nobody ain't worrying about you, Cane. Nobody ain't worrying about you. And it's just like, see? And the way he's been moving lately, yeah, Cane is becoming better. He's becoming better, but he still has that mindset of just like killing everybody and getting the job done. That's why I'm thinking that if a Dru versus Cane was to happen, you gotta wonder like who would actually kill who, because a lot of people have speculated that maybe Brayden would actually kill Cane, or somebody can end up killing Cane, but I don't know. I feel like it might come down to an old-fashioned brother versus brother. That's what I think, because you look at Power Before Force, and it was Diamond and Jannard, where Jannard was like, "Oh, I miss the old Diamond. I miss the old Diamond," and that's when Diamond didn't kill Jannard. But I think in Power Book, maybe Book 2, we could probably see like a brother versus brother. That's what I think. I don't necessarily think there might be any killing, but who knows? Because at this point, the Tejada family is basically broken. But I would have said in this tidbit, you can kind of thank Diana and Tariq for this, because when Tariq gave Diana the bag and he told her not to look into the bag, and she did it anyway, and then showed the bag to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo got all hot and bothered by the bag, and then he went in thinking he was going to kill Mecca. So it was kind of like a domino effect when you think about it, which trickled everything. So when you look into this whole between like Cane versus Dru, I can see it happening because it's been teased. Like, I can strongly see it actually happening, and those two might actually go on like head to head, because even Monet told Dru, but she's basically using Dru because she did the same thing that Lorenzo did to her and said that, well, yeah, it was the Russians, but it wasn't really the Russians, it was Gordo that did the shit. But she's basically using Dru's hatred and his anger right now, basically putting him into the direction of the Russians, which isn't really true. So it's like, and by telling him that he's going to be the one in charge, which also is manipulating him into a way of thinking that he is. But like I said, Dru is smart, but I feel like Cane might have the upper hand on him when it comes down to like fighting. It's not so much of smarts, because you got to wonder, like, what did Dru actually do so far? He came up with like a good plan, which was to take out the Russian Connect instead of just taking out of everybody. But if you would have went with Kane's plan, then Lorenzo would have been alive. And I feel like that's what they're going to bring up. I think that's what they're going to probably bring up to throw at Dru's face. Like, listen, if we would have killed like the cousins and they just took out everybody on that side of the family, then Lorenzo would have been alive. Because I don't think, unless Monet would have gotten some outside people to have done it. But, unless you'd have gotten some outside people to have done it. But I don't think that would have happened. But I think Lorenzo would have been alive if they would have went with Kane's plan. So it's like when you look at it between like two brothers, it's like they both have a good idea of how they're going to lead. And it would be dope if they was to do it together. Like, Cane has his way of doing things, and Dru has his way of doing things, and they can kind of like work together and come up with like a great plan. But the thing is, both brothers is going to be moving in opposite directions, while Diana's just going to be there trying to get them together. But I don't think there's going to be any sort of form of leadership. So it does beg the question, like, if Monet does go to prison, right, then it is going to lead into like maybe a Dru and Cane, because nobody ain't gonna try to take leadership and who versus who, which I think. But if she doesn't go to jail, then it would only further make Cane angry. And I don't, again, like I said, there's a lot of manipulation that's going on right now, and the truth has to come out that Monet was the one to have gotten Lorenzo killed. So Monet has to definitely go for this, but I'm just, throwing out the idea of in the future that it could be a Dru versus Cane. But, let me know in the comment section down below, because I could be wrong. And maybe we won't see a Dru versus Cane. But the way we've been seeing tensions all the way from season 1 to 2 into now about like, oh, who's going to take over and who's going to be the leader and this and that. So I don't know. I just see like it's a possibility that we might actually see like a Dru versus Cane. But who knows? Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I catch you all in the next one.